Hey, I wound up hitting a button when I was finishing up Joel's interview. I wound up hitting it a little too early. I was actually going to go get some food. So, pardon me, family. I know, some of the people had, had logged on and had jumped on, so just, I ain't get no food yet, but I'm gonna just, jump on and we could just conversate for a few, just to carry on from the conversation that we just had with Joel Benjamin, dealing with the community, dealing with the Trump situation. And we're just going to build from there. I just want to do something before I actually get into it, but give people a chance to see. I will be showing the picture, but I gotta go incognito for like 3 seconds just to one of the brothers that wanted to chop it up with me, give them a heads up, and see, let them know there's an open conversation. So if you got questions, it was something that you wanted to ask or didn't get to ask from with Joel, definitely can finish your thought, and we can continue on the conversation on any other questions. Let's try to reach out to this brother real quick. Oh, where's he at? Where's he at? Pardon me. Give me 3 seconds. Give me 3 seconds. This is live. We're giving people a chance to get in. Give people a chance to get into the room. Where's he at? So, let me call this one. Yes. Oh man. All right. So I gotta hit him online. Hit him up online. Name a little more. Salute to everybody coming in, giving people a chance to come in. We will be, again, just give people a chance to get into the room. Let me try to get to the brother that wanted to jump in, and so if there's any extra questions that didn't happen during the Joel conversation, because it was kind of early and a lot of people was logging on kind of late, but we're gonna just continue. Again, this is still breakfast time and lunchtime for a few, but it's Saturday. So let's see what we could do. I'm just a guest in somebody's house, so I'm not really in my own environment, but I'm gonna just try to see if we could pull something off real quick. So just bear with me for 2 seconds, please. Just bear with me for 2 seconds. Let's see if I could get in. So write down, in the chat, you could definitely write down any questions that you would that you wanted to build on, apart from the fact that I already, just got a few things thoughts to finish. But if there's anything per se, whether it's about anything, you know what I'm saying, like whether you wanna to names for your baby, just any crazy thing right now at this point. Let's just keep building. Let's just go. All right, so let me get this thing real quick. Let me just get this link and let them know. Once I get this link, I can let them know that I'm here. And yeah, once I get this link. Matter of fact, I'll just put it in. I'll just put the link in. Yeah, I just do that. I'll just put the link in. And if you just want to jump in, and it was kind of dangerous when you got like trolls and shit like that, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. I'm gonna put the link in, so if you want to jump in, you want to chat live, and go just be a part of the conversation, opposed to. So yes. All right. So you see, I'm active. I'm actually active. Putting it in. So again, let me send this guy this link. And we almost there, man. We almost there, family. Yeah. So with the whole Trump conversation, it's they're gonna drag it out a little bit for a little while, because he'll be the president for for a little while now. He'll be the president for about 8 years. So you got to be on your toes. So it's not going to be a conversation that you can say will get old, because he will be your he will be the president for a while, and whether it's him or somebody from that administration, it's going to be, as it is what it is. We created that situation, so that's just something. That's just what it is. So within the other videos that's on this channel that you can see, some of the other conversations that I was already having about Trump, as far as with the protest and with them creating these protests that seem to just strategically pop up out of nowhere and have so much, to be so uh, uh, live, and so many people involved. So the vigor, all of these things that you would want a protest to have, but at the same time, it just happens out of nowhere. And I just say, just keep your filters up and be aware that a lot of these things are pre-planned and are done in a way where you can actually if you just breathe and just step away for 3 seconds, you could kind of see all the telltale signs that tie back to the whole 9/11 conversation. Because before the year ended, there was they had a terrorist plot, at an airport, and then they had the 9/11. They had the 9/11. No, prior to that, there was the young dudes from Chicago that they said was terrorizing an autistic child, or some. They had the two. It was two dudes and two girls, or something like that, or three dudes, two girls, or whatever. But that whole Chicago, when it was said that they was torturing that the young white dude that was like mentally impaired, and somehow he was able to get away from people. He was tied up and was able to get away from these young people that were supposedly torturing him live on Facebook. Now they was saying that they was torturing him right live on Facebook, but he was able to get away, get to the authorities, and Facebook allowed this thing to air for however long, right? And people went crazy because it was in Chicago. Just so happened to be in Chicago, the place where everybody's like, "Yo, let's send the troops, and we need extra policing, and we need this and that." And then what happens? Donald Trump gets in office and speaks on it. But after the Chicago, the Chicago group that was torturing the young men and women, what happened after that? It was the airplane. It was the airport scenario where they say the guy just pulls out his pistol and just starts shooting people in the airport. Now he's supposedly shooting people in this airport. He pulls out his gun. He's shooting people in the airport. Now that ties the airport in. And then after that, there wound up being a crash in New York City. A crash in New York City. A train crashes into the Brooklyn station. Okay, so so let's think about it. Terrorism, airport, crash, New York. What does that remind you of? Hold on, let's try it again. Terrorism, airplane, terrorist, crash in New York City. This is how they start off the year, with the signs and symbolism of this whole, of the whole 9/11 movement. So, maybe for those who didn't, put 1+1+1 together and get 9/11 from that, I'm just, the answer is 9/11. So that same group of realtors and gangsters and banksters, etc., are behind a lot of these propaganda scenarios that you're going to see, that you see coming up. So again, salute to Joel Benjamin. Salute to salute to everybody who's on right now. And again, pardon me, I was on a low earlier and then accidentally pressed the live button, and people went to that one. So we still giving people a little bit of time, to pour in over here. But whether or not, I just wanted to just kind of just make an open conversation where we can build and maybe follow up from the Joel conversation and go live. Again, I'm a guest in somebody else's house, so I really wasn't even planning on this. And I told everybody I'll go live once I get back home. But we'll chop it up for a few. But you can see that all the scenarios that's being set up, are really contrived. They're all staged. That's why you hear acts of terror. Okay, when you hear an act of terror, meaning it's staged, and you'll hear politicians, like when they would ask uh, uh, President Obama at the time, they would ask him his opinion on certain things. He would say, well, that's theater. I don't have time to answer questions about theater, okay, because those were staged acts of terror, theater. So now it dominoes into, this whole new regime coming in, this whole alternative order coming in, this whole new alternative order comes in, and what do you wind up getting? You wind up getting, the following regime, the Margaret Sanger March, the whole women's movement, and Planned Parenthood blitzing, and coming together with the whole Bernie Sanders campaign, and they just went hard at carrying the momentum and swaying people into their narrative. So it just behooves I'm just trying to, keep everybody as focused and as sharp as possible. So that's what those prior conversations on this channel has been about. Peace to anybody who's kind of new to this channel. Chopped it up with Joel Benjamin early this morning. He hit me up late last night, early this morning, like, yo, let's go. So, we chopped it up a little bit. So right now it's just an open convo, and I'll just leave the conversation open. And what I'll say is, listen, I'm an artist, I'm a musician, I'm a father, I'm aware, I'm conscious to my environment. So I'll leave the conversation open, because right now, my mindset, my focus, I'm out here because I just the records that I've been working on, some of the music that I've been working on is actually live right now. So with all the nonsense, I'll be having to deal with multitask and deal with everything else. So I'll be, I'll as musicians, as artists, as men and women, we can't ignore what's going on in the everyday, whether it's politics or everyday life, and feel that, I don't got to talk about that. I don't got to deal with that, because after a while, those things start dealing with you. So me as a musician, of course, I just want to get to the party. I want to get to the girls. I want to get to having fun. But at the same time, it's like, how could I do that without dealing with this? Because, people are not going to be, their minds are not going to be clear enough to enjoy themselves. So I just want people to be able to enjoy themselves when they're around me and be stress free. I don't want, I'm not into the nonsense and the drama, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why it looked like, yo, you exposing this, exposing. I'm just trying to neutralize it, because the same way, when we come up and we doing our thing, they do what they could to neutralize us. So it's just the same thing. We're just countering the counterintelligence operations that they have going on. All right. So, so again, let me give 3 seconds to see, to salute the family in the chat, and we go from there. Okay. My brother Ken. Okay, you made it. You made it through. Yes. Okay. Um, Watanya. Okay, Watanya Jones. Peace. What's going on with you? Okay, of course. Again, my brother Ken. These are T's. What's good? I said, what do you think about the fathers that do not contribute financially or emotionally to their children? Okay. I don't want to stop right there, but I gotta answer that one, because I got a scenario, I got a situation right now that that's gonna be really interesting. Okay, the stick up kids, peace. Peace to the stick up kids. Lovable glow. I hear you now. Okay, that's what's up. Okay, the stick up kids. 8 years, yes. He said an interview, and he said he said we're gonna have a good strong 8 years. Okay, it's a snafu. Okay, basmala, bismillah, bismillah, rabini, 9/11. You already know what it is. Programming. Okay, that's hot 8. How old were you when you went into the service? Damn, it was like straight out of high school, man. Am I Haitian? Damn, you know we international. We international. That's kind of like I got family from all over. So my father, they came from Puerto Rico. They came from Puerto Rico, but they got a Haitian last name. So it's like, no, not excuse me, a French last name. So I guess the French people was having sex with everybody. You know that's a romance language. so, but my mother's from here. You know, so but you know, all of the islands is still a part of the Americas. You know, so we international. We international. So let me answer the brother when he was saying, what do I think about the fathers that do not contribute financially? Let me do that. Let me get to that one. Okay, so that's dirtbag shit. Like if they're not contributing to to the household to help raise their children, um, it's just unfair. It's just unfair because nobody should be be forced to bear the burden of everyone and feel that they should be able to get away scot free. So for the men, that's not being helpful to the women that they lay down with, because if you went out of your way to have sex with these women, with a woman, and you went out of your way to smooth talk her out of her drawers and out of her clothes, and you was able to negotiate where y'all was going to have sex, and you was able to, find a scenario where y'all can actually make this thing happen, whether it's standing in the hallway or on the roof, or y'all know what I'm talking about, but maybe you don't, but it happens anyway when you really want it. But either way, if you was able to put yourself in a position where she's pregnant 9 months later, and at this point, the child is born, and you're not doing your part to help add to that child's growth, then of course I feel that that's something that the community, that the people, that the family should just should not embrace on no level. I don't know how to say it without saying something, without cursing, cursing the dude out, because that's some dirtbag shit. You got what I'm saying? So um so for the men that do that, that's just straight corny. It's just trash. But let me just tell you something, man. Let me just tell you something. People gonna do what they could try to, what they feel they can get away with. Um, that's another key thing. And when you even getting into these situations, communication is key. All right. Uh, a lot of the things that's happening with the music is because there was a time when people would use music to set the tone to get in the draws. You got what I'm saying? People would use, music at the club to meet and mix and mingle. So now the music is not really relationship based nowadays. It's just, meet it, beat it, and beat it. So the music is not really helping. So what I do with my music, I explain all the different levels of the situations, and I, about relationships, because I'm anti domestic violence, because my mother was, she was in an abusive relationship. That as a child, as a baby, there's something that, as a child, I can remember, just the loud noises and the banging and all of that or whatever. And then when you're a child and you can't, defend your mother, you got what I'm saying? That's not a comfortable situation. So I'm not comfortable with men that abuse women. I'm not comfortable with men that abuse their children, or any parent, a mother or a father or any adult that takes advantage of that situation. Let me flip the coin for a second. Um, because with everything that's going on socially, our house, what's happening in our houses is obviously what's more important to, to some of the people that's tuned in right this second. Again, it's an open convo, so I answer whatever questions. But personally, I was dragged through this child support situation. Now, I like to use myself as an example simply because, you don't want to bring up too much of these other people things, but okay, I was put into a situation where I was made to look like the bad guy. But now here the shoe is on the other foot. Now I'm even at a point where I have custody of my son, right? And the mother is not nowhere to be found. She's barely calls her own son, and barely, and it is not really cooperative on any level, and communication is no good. And, even though, we all can make decisions for ourselves, but the relationship that she's in, she's trying to be protective of our husband for whatever the case is. So it's not like it's just a man thing. It's not just like men are the ones that's doing the wrong thing, because she ain't seen one dime. I already had my son for almost 2 years. You got what I'm saying? Meaning, I done moved out. I got him his own scenario, and I'm still rebuilding, and they still haven't paid me back none of the money that they stole from me, none of the money that they took from me, from this child support case. So yes, men should do their part, but women should also do their part. And for the women that are doing their part, all I could do is send good vibrations, good love and respect to you, because I was raised in a scenario where it would be considered a single parent home. Although I had, my grandmother come in and out, and my uncle come in and out, and and a stepfather, but at the same time, it still was my mother that was carrying a brunt of the load for her children. And a lot of the women today are still carrying that load, because when I see my sisters, and they got, they children, and they, so it's just an ongoing cycle where it seems like the man is just, where the man and woman are not able to work together to raise the children. But at the same time, more men, to me personally, I see that more men are taking responsibility and are stepping up to the plate. So you got to salute all of those men, because there are a lot of men stepping up to the plate. There are a lot of women that have been carrying carrying the load for a really long time. So it's never a loss of respect for them. And the thing is to help keep them protected and provide for them as much as possible. But yeah, it's not just like men anymore. So please don't even, I'm not even gonna, pretend like, oh man, these guys, nah, because listen, I'm in a situation where, my son's mother is not active, not even to him, not even to me. Like, I don't even want nothing from her. I'm not putting her on child support. I'm not taking her to court, but she's not even proactive in his life anymore at all. You got what I'm saying? And I think she's collecting cash from him, but I don't want to say too much, whatever. But listen, so it's just more than men at this point. It's just really more than men that are not, doing the right thing. A lot of women are becoming, what they say, we can do what you want to. Don't be like the men. Don't be like us. And I don't mean to say I'm including myself in, but you know what I mean. Don't be like the men that set bad examples. Don't do that. Do the right thing. Don't focus on, trying to be something other than yourself. Don't try to be extra macho. Don't try to be extra anything other than, a mother and a great parent, or a father and a great parent. And if you could get into a relationship where, where somebody can help provide, then do that. And let me see if there's any other questions that the people got out there before we go. Because I just jumped on just so we can just chop it up, have an open convo. Say any growing inflicted mental, yeah, and yep, that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay, shit, my sons is they look more. One of my sons look older than me and shit. They thought he was my uncle. My son is he's I'm homeschooling, so but he would be starting out high school. He'd be in high school right now. Um, do I put a lot of faith in astrology and zodiac? Ah, I mean, I respect it. I respect that. I could do that. We could talk about that. I feel any men that are doing what it takes to. That's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And it take do what it takes to work with their kids. Okay. Okay. Okay, restaurant. Yeah, you already know the restaurant bathrooms. Look at you, brother. That's it. Yeah, those is the corruption days. You heard what I'm saying? Those are straight corruption all over, whatever. I just get it popping when it's real as you. Yeah. Okay, anyway, kids are more valuable than money. That's a fact, yeah, actually, absolutely. You got to contribute guidance, Ivana. That's what Ivana, um, you gonna have me. I don't want to be like the butchering names. Ivana Hapalet. Yeah, I agree with you. Anybody that contribution of guidance is key to help this next generation come up, or any generation at this point. I think some adults are still trapped into that child mind state, because there's a psychological domino effect that there's something that wasn't done correctively early on, so they still carry that childhood with them, so they wind up behaving like children. And there's things that triggered their childlike mentality. So guidance on every level at this point. Okay, you say, yes, I agree with you, Steve. Good in office. Okay, all right. So they wanna, we're gonna say with the astrology. I'll get to that one. You wanna do that? I'll answer that one. Do I put the faith in astrology? Let's see. Do I put the faith in astrology is the question. I'll answer. Okay. So when it comes to astrology, okay, and like the zodiac, okay. Being an artist, I'm able to pull from, on a blank canvas, I'm able to see things that people can't see. Being a musician, I'm able to start on a blank, like there's nothing there, and then we make music. Great music at that, phenomenal art. And I credit that with, what you would say, the Most High, God, so forth and so on. But that's energy. Okay, now when you study music and you learn the different keys and the notes, all of these things keep tying into astrological signs. And when you tie into when you study the astrological signs, and it's pretty much you just studying the stars. And if you study even the human body, or anybody that's into science, and actually, if you study the biological makeup of men and women, and you study the chemical chart, right? And you see everything that's inside of our bodies are actually things that's spread throughout the universe. And when you realize that no matter what, we're all tied into the same family. So you can't separate one from the other. So do I put faith in the zodiacs? To an extent, where, okay, there's a new chart that they say, with Ophiuchus, with Imhotep was deified, and he became the 13th sign. Now, most people are not functioning off of the 13th sign. They still functioning off the traditional zodiac chart. So, where the chart was shifted, some of the signs were made, some of the signs have a shorter cutoff date, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, as a musician, as an artist, as a social person, as a social voice, right? I have to figure out, I have to study everything. So I have to be mindful of the energy that I'm dealing with, whether it's in a studio situation, whether it's at an event or whatever. So I have to be mindful of the energy that I'm with. And with astrology, it kind of helps sort out some of the noise. So I respect it, especially when you got the traditional zodiac chart, and then you have the Chinese zodiac chart, but it's just the moon and the sun, the placing of the moon and the sun. So for those of you who are into that, I would suggest that you get this book, where it says, it's called, the title of the book is called The Only Zodiac Book That You Would Ever Need, or something like that. I think that's the title, something like that. I'm not quite sure. I had it, and I was talking to somebody, and they took the book, and it was like, yeah, I'm gonna give it back, and just disappeared. I never, but that's what that's how it happens. It's like putting an umbrella down when it comes to certain things. You got to buy 25 umbrellas, but that book, what that book did was, it kind of broke down just to the very detail about the energy of the man that I am and could be, per se. All right. Now, when I was first introduced to that information, when somebody bring it up, I'm one of those, like, come on, man, with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I make the same face, like, I'm not really into it. And then it was just a situation where the gentleman who had presented the information was reading asked me a couple of questions and went into his book and start reading me as if he knew me for years. And I'm like, I don't really know this guy, you know what I'm saying? And here he is reading from this book, and he's giving details about me and my personality that he shouldn't even know. So me, I'm the type that I just would rather have an advantage over myself, opposed to some people who can read your chart and know you before you know yourself. So the whole theme that we have in our community is know thyself. So I'm the type that okay, if what's the name of that book? So I went and got that book, and I just so I could know myself. In the arts, from the way your cheekbones is set, from the way your chin is, from the way the settings of your eye, from the from the shape of your nose, from your mouth, all of these things in the arts. As an artist, as an illustrator, we call it from the wood face, the water face, the stone, all of these different things, the characteristics. It can predict, whether you're going to have a daughter, a son. It can predict the sex. It can predict your personality. All of these things come into place. But when it comes to the zodiac, it's just, okay, if the stars and the planets and the moon was this, then it just 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, the personality is going to be geared like this. Now, people are special because people can also, people have the choice for change. Meaning, within your hands, you have a pretty much, it's mapped out for your past and your future. But the thing about your hands and palm reading, because that's a part of, if you want to get into astrology, you got to get into the, maybe you know a little bit about the palm reading. You can actually alter your destiny, and that's really what forecasting is about. It's not about oh, you're going to meet this wonderful woman or wonderful whoever looking to meet, or you're going to meet this person or whatever. You still, once you have a heads up to it, you just still have to set the environment and create a situation where you can continue to be continue to benefit from the scenario, because the guy was like, damn, you was supposed to die a long time ago. He's like, and you was supposed to this and that or whatever. And he just was like, yo, you were alchemist and this and that. So when I was listening to how he was breaking down and giving information that I personally at that time I never heard before, so I start reading up on some of the information. And he was like, yeah, you're an artist. And he never knew I was an artist. How would he know that I was an artist? So he was like, yeah, you're an artist, you're an alchemist, you're this, you're that, and da. And you have, you're going to have 2 children. And I only had, I'm not even sure if I even had a son at the time, but now I have 2 children. Yes, I'm still an artist. Yes, I'm still considered what you would consider an alchemitic, an alchemist, meaning I create, it's, from the pure energy of blackness. But just when you get into those studies and you start seeing, where it's all stemming from, I'm mindful of it. And some people accredit it with, palm reading, zodiac, God knows so many, esoteric studies and all, names for it, the Cabal, and there's a bunch of different interpretations of the same science. But the point of it is always to know thyself. So there's information spread throughout everywhere where you can get information to just help know yourself. Once you know yourself, then you can help someone else. Okay. Sometimes, you can help somebody else and you're still trying to figure yourself out, because we're all works in progress. But yes, I do at least, I take a look at it, and, I take it with a grain of salt, but I'll just be mindful of it. Like, sometimes I won't even, I won't, like, say somebody reads the zodiac. I won't even read it until like the end of the day, because I don't want it to, I don't want it to, I don't want to look at it like this is dictating my day. So I'll just see if it was right. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's that. But, I hope that kind of like answers it in a way. I'm just being, I'm just trying to give like as much detail to that question, to each question, fairly. So let's see if any other questions. Any other questions? Just an open convo, family. It's just an open convo. We just talking. Okay, I'm not familiar with the palm. Okay, you're not familiar with the palm. Yeah, palm reading is that one. If you into astrology, I would suggest you at least do a little bit of studying on the palm. I'm not saying go to these people that's walking around in the street, because sometimes, if you're familiar with the word frauds and scamming, then you'll learn that right there real fast. But sometimes they all right, but nah, just go straight to the book. Just, you can even get to a point where you can Google and just learn what the basic lines, these lines in your hand, are really key to your life. You got your lifeline, your heart line, your headline, pause. But you have, I say that because, this is recorded and somebody can take a piece of it and flip it into a whole nother conversation. But anyway, every line that's in your hand has, is important and is key to your life. Some people have the M. I don't have the M in my hand. You got what I'm saying? So it's just a lot to, it. Let me see, we got, let's see what else we got going. Um, Common ground, child's growth, Mars and mentally distracted, child's love and confuse them. Yeah, that's a fact. Okay, let me see. I feel that we could cut through a lot of the BS if we acknowledge our zodiac mode. Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, shun the zodiac because uh, it was seen as the devil's work. The devil's work. A lot of people seen it like that, but then at the same time, these same people that were saying it's the devil's work would wind up doing their own interpretation of the same science. So it's, there's people would scare you away from information just for the sake of their own financial thing. But don't, I would say, just be open to information that can empower you and give you information about yourself. So it's as simple as that. And as far as let me see the question on child. Yeah, just being mindful for the children. And also put this thing in there for anybody that want to jump in. I just put this in because it's just an open conversation. We just chopping it up. We just excuse me. It's just giving some time to just conversate. It's a Saturday afternoon, and have a conversation, just having an open conversation. But uh, when it comes to, knowing yourself, is what if you had all of this information, whether it was astrological, whether it's palm reading, whether it was just all the information that you have as adults. What if you had that as a child? So that's something where I think if more people were enlightened earlier, like we're at an opportunity where instead of the children, being programmed to shoot zombies and get ready for just war in sports, You got what I'm saying? We're at a opportunity. We're at a place where you can have knowledge of self early on before you hit maturity, before you hit adulthood. Because what's happening is a lot of the teenagers, a lot of the people, like, I don't know about you, but I remember graduating or, getting my certificate to leave high school. And it was like, okay, now what? And I just remember speaking to a principal not too long ago, and the principal was like, "Yeah, a lot of the students are coming back saying, what do I do? They don't have nowhere to go, nowhere to turn, because there's no real blueprint to how to be a man. There's no real blueprint to how to be a woman, how to be an adult, how to be responsible, how to make better decisions, because school is just programming, and the school program coincides with the news program, and then these whole, their whole, prison pipeline agenda. You got what I'm saying? Where they can just use free labor for your children. So they're just ushering the children and the men and women that are not knowledgeable about themselves to either drain their energy while they're at work, or drain them and put them in their little confined, prisons, etc., just so they can get cheap labor out of them. And that's really, to me, what it's all about. So that's why it's like the more information you have on yourself, the less chance you have to be manipulated. Now, there's a thing where you can do something called where you could once you have a full or have a better understanding of who you are, what you could do is you could you would have a better leverage at negotiating what you will do, who you are, and what you want to accomplish in life, because a lot of people don't have their uh their purpose down pat yet. So a lot of people are drifting. So while you're drifting, you pick up different work. And even as an artist, and I knew from early on I wanted to be an artist, there was a lot of times when I was able to, where I would be considered like drifting, but at the same time I was picking up. I would still pay attention to little things and carry that on to use it at a later time, because experience, just taking it, even conversations like this, I'm able to use this to maybe put this in lyric form, in an artistic form, you know, and help somebody else who's maybe not logged on or maybe won't see this conversation per se. So that's really the mission and the job of an artist, is we have to listen, sponge, and absorb, and then reinterpret that and make order out of it and bring order out of the chaos that's going on in our environments. So that's why when I hear people say, there's a difference between conscious music and regular music. All music is supposed to be conscious, because you're supposed to be the conversation, or music per se is always supposed to be about uh, the experience, that you have, and your perception of life, and maybe it can help people who have that same experience, or that is coming across that same experience. So musicians, whether they're given their own perspective, or they're just looking from somebody else's experience and learning from it. When you put it in a rhythm, it's just easier to put inside your program, because it's just energy. So everything has been taught to us reversed, backwards, and out of order. So here we are, full grown adults, and we're just kind of putting the pieces together and learning. But at the same time, we have children growing up, faster, than, now we're the parents, like, oh shit, like I was the one, like my parents was telling me when I was your age, and now here we are, like, yo, when I was your age, you know what I'm saying? So, but the best thing is, uh, it's not as openly nasty as it used to be, as far as environment, because the way that greed has been, uh, the greed that I experienced, and that maybe some of the other people experienced, was they left the neighborhoods to look what you would call slum like, slum lords, ghettos, right? So they would leave it like that, and then I had to grow up in that situation where people was fighting for crumbs, and then now the neighborhood is new and brand new. So the mentality for some people never left that slum mentality of, I'm going to take anything that I see. You got what I'm saying? Opposed to a more conducive, a more productive and shared conversation. Some people was able to strengthen their families from those environments. A lot of families were broken and destroyed from that environment, which you would call, like, the Reagan era, the Nixon. And I came across a woman that said one time, she said to me that Nixon was fine. Nixon was great. She was happy with Nixon. It was this is and I don't want to bring nationality. And she was a black woman. And he was like, and I was like, Nixon? I was like, maybe I need to go do some studying, because I'm like, Nixon, you sure? Nixon, you was happy with Nixon and Clinton and Bush? And I'm like, you sure? And she was like, yeah. I was like, well, maybe I didn't ask her, was she a drug dealer in those days, or a drug addict or anything like that. But it's just interesting when you hear people's perspective about history, and it's hindsight at this time. Like, Nixon as the good guy, and this woman was like, yeah, man, you need to go back and look. I'm like, oh man. So that's the mindset. You have a U.S. citizen mindset versus an American civilian or citizen of America mindset. And the U.S. citizens find oppression. Some citizens, some of them find uh, your oppression is something that they can benefit from. So that's why on so many different levels, whether it's political, whether it's esoteric, or on so many different levels, oppression is monetized. So being mindful with conversations like this and just building and helping and just giving a chance, like yeah, I have my agenda, about my conversation, but at this point, like I said, it's just an open conversation where anybody can jump in and ask a question. And again, I don't talk about what I don't know. I just talk about what I know, and so happened just my experience from early on. I was always open, and people gravitated to me where they would give me information, and I didn't know when I was going to be able to use it, but I just stored it up, and it just so happened that I'm able to use it, and I was able to use it in ways that was able to get me out of a lot of situations and put me in a lot of great situations and meet a lot of amazing people and get a lot done, and looking to get a lot more done. And before I go to the next question, let me just tell the people, if you logged on and you love music, I got 3 records out right now. I got 3 records out right now. So I got to advertise. Like I got to get on my advertising thing. Yeah, I'm gonna do proper commercials, et cetera, et cetera. But for those who are not waiting for the hoopla, you get it from what you could the horse's mouth. Where I'm saying Royale, you type in if you Amazon is pretty easy to use. iTunes, man, they becoming a headache, man. But some people know how to use it and or whatever. But Amazon.com, iTunes, and all the other digital platforms. I got 3 records available. And if you like, you can check it out. Whether it's the Till I Find You record is just a refreshing sound. Then I got The Killing Gotta Stop. Very soulful. I'm working with my man Dame Grease, who produced for Nas, with Jay, and pretty much everybody in the industry. He produced a DMX album. If it was Dark and Hell is Hot, it's Dark and Hell is Hot. He produced the bulk of that album. So he produced The Killing Gotta Stop. And it's a banger. I just put that title just because I use the language in a way where it can be used as a programming. So if right now the budget is there ain't no budget. But if I got to advertise it on different platforms and people see The Killing Gotta Stop, it worked even for me because, again, I come from the worst of the worst conditions. And certain scenarios, I'd be ready to just do the wrong thing, and just triggering just the consistent program of The Killing Gotta Stop kind of suppresses that. That doesn't mean I want to, uh, box everybody. I'm just saying, use your head, use your head, and think twice, or be smart, opposed to, being violent or over aggressive for situations that can put, yourself or somebody else in harm's way. But The Killing Gotta Stop is just to the super extreme. And the lyric is, they say the killing gotta stop. That's what they usually tell us. They say the killing got to stop, but in the city where I'm from, it always trickles from the top. So, that's the chorus. Check that record out. That's on, again, Amazon.com, iTunes, all the digital platforms. And then I got this record called Hashtag, for, the adrenaline rush. If you like whether it's the trap bounce, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you, it's it's a good problem. It gives you that adrenaline rush. It's empowering for the women. It's empowering for anybody who love that great energy. When it comes to other things, I'm pretty humble. When it comes to my music and my art, I'm not too humble. I'm just the greatest. I'm gonna tell you like that. I try to be like, oh, I'm gonna be, no, I'm not. If you're trash, I'm gonna be like, you trash. I don't like, whatever. But I know how to make things work for like if if you're serious about your craft and you're driven, I know how to help you and I'll do all of those things. But at the same time, like I'm more open to help people, whether it's production, whether it's songwriters and singers. Right now, I need like some actresses and actors, and because I got some more videos that I'm filming. So of course some programmers or whatever. And again, I got this new phone that people can call, a phone number that people can call on. And but for now, uh, this shit gonna die. But I got a phone. I'll put that up at some given time on one of my websites, either royalmusic.com or royalnews.com. But let me get to answer any other questions. Let me see if there's any other questions. But yeah, so before the show's over, at some given time, open up another little thing and cop. The killing gotta stop. Rawyal, Rawyal. The killing gotta stop. Till I find you. Till I find you. The other one is hashtag, HASH tag, hashtag, Rawyal hashtag, Rawyal, the killing gotta stop. Rawyal till I find you. 3 records available right now. Now let me get to see if the people got anything else to say before we kind of wrap it up. I just wanted to chop it up with the family. That's really what it's about. Is Joel Benjamin on this show? Is Joel Benjamin on this show? Shit, I should call him and tell him to get on the show just so he could talk his crap. Okay, which one of them tracks can I twerk to? Hashtag. You can twerk the hashtag. Hashtag is a problem. Hashtag is like, I'm telling you, it's official. Hashtag, like you like what I do is I usually like playing my music for I got people that I would call, sarcastically, I call them haters. So I usually send it to my worst critics and my haters first, just so they can figure it out and see what they say, and they love it. They like, man, they love it. They love it. The adrenaline is crazy. So again, I don't play around when it comes to this music, and when it comes to my art, I do not play around. I make sure the music is official. And it's just really about what you want. If you went to soul music and you went to that Michael Jackson, James Brown, Billy Joel, Beatles, damn, just if you went to real music, I picked up the torch. Like, I'm carrying the torch. I'm not even gonna play games. I'm still tied to the major labels, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm moving as a private owned business. So when it comes to promotions, et cetera, I don't have the big bank backing me. And at the same time, I'm a recovering child support victim. So I'm really just doing things, functioning right now with just with my own own little budget, which is really no budget or whatever. So, but the music is top quality music. The music is top quality. So definitely you could get into that. For these 20, I mean, looking at the questions right now, on the international Generation X trap the ball. Generation X trap the ball. Wow. Generation X, just so you know, I already filmed and recorded something about the generations. I've recorded. It's a continued conversation from the definition of America. Let me follow it. Let me respond to that one right there, because I, I was the brothers went hard on me, but when I was out there with one time, and they was like, "Yo, you from Generation X?" I don't know if you remember the video or whatever, but I put it in one of the videos, right? And now with Generation X, just so you can know, a generation is 20 years. A generation is 20 years. Generation X began 1960. So from 1960 to 1980 is Generation X. Just so you know, Generation X is 1960 to 1980. So think about what was happening in the year 1960 to the year 1980. Okay. Now, to say, is it our fault that is it our fault that in the 60s, the men and women that we would be able to look up to and take information from, or absorb or get guidance from, that were more knowledgeable at the time, most of them were most of them were bombed on by the federal government. By that was the whole COINTEL program, and that goes all the way back to like 1918 earlier, during the Marcus Garvey time, all the way on, and it goes back even further. But I'm just, just to make the conversation a lot more contemporary. So now, when you think about all of the minds, the great minds from the '60s, now the few that survived on, whether it was the Dr. Amos, Ivor Van Sertima, and the list goes on with that. The few that survived, we were still able to get some information from them. The Dr. Benz, the Dr. Clarks, we was able to get a lot of information from those leftover teachers and scholars from that earlier generation. But think about what happened before the '70s, what happened before the '80s. All the men and women that could have, that should have been projected as leaders, teachers, scholars, they were projected in the mainstream as terrorists, killers. When the Panthers made their food program, what did the FBI label it as? A threat to the U.S., the greatest threat to the U.S. So they created this whole fear mongering conversation, and we wind up losing a lot of great men and women. Look how young Fred Hampton was, 21, and now, you get the mindset of a young man or woman coming up, and they just, drug addict. It just it's just some, what they say, savage, which is still wrong to say, but the minds are colonized, with with wrong information and bad programming. I don't like to call anybody coons. I don't like to call people, I don't even like to use savage, because that something about that is not correct wording. To save age, save age. I'm into get into the root of the language, because I don't speak good English. I speak American. So when it comes to speaking American, there's the words resonate different. The words resonate different. So just when it comes to Generation X, did we drop the ball? I don't think so, but I think we got. To answer that, a history teacher, a phenomenal history teacher that I had, said this before I graduated high school. He said to me, he said, your generation got it the worst because you're getting the leftover methods that they was using, right? And then you're getting a whole new technological blitz, and you're caught in between that. And and you being caught, your generation is caught in between that. So what you guys are going to face are things that nobody ever had to deal with, and then at the same time you're dealing with things that you wasn't even able to deal with. So we got blitzed from all angles, and they did a job on our generation. And now the newer generation, from when you get from 80 to 2000, 2020, man, it's just really technological, and propaganda, and the programming, the food, the biological. It's still biological, it's still chemical, it's still the basic programming, but it's something where our generation, are supposed to be the ones that give guidance to the newer generations who are more who more tech savvy. If you have or came ever maybe you have a child or don't have a child or whatever the case is, but if you have a child and you put a computer or your phone in a child's hand, they're able to unlock your code and get in your phone. Put that same phone in an adult's hand, and he's like, oh, I can't wait till she leave her phone open, or I can't wait till he leave his phone open. But put that in a child's hand. If you want to break into, just veer off for a second, or you could put the phone in your back pocket, because did you ever butt dial somebody? Like, it's a smartphone. You got a smart ass. You just put the phone in your back pocket, and your phone will crack open the code. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just joking. But yeah, this generation is kind of unprotected, because Generation X was blitzed on from all angles, and it's unfortunate because You know, here I am, one of the leftovers blowing the trumpet, like, yo, we got this and that, and there's a few of us, that's blowing the trumpet and trying to, get more people aware to what's going on. But it's really difficult because the noise from the generation prior, they're the just don't say nothing and go along with the program, and then the younger generation coming up are either their minds is already altered from whether it's drugs or just the programming, because most children are raised on cartoons and video games. So that's really the mindset. So that's why the communication is bad with the women, because they don't know how to speak to the women, and vice versa. Some of the women are not, some of the, the older women are not, giving the proper information to their daughters. They're giving them the Cinderella Disney conversations, and then when they're coming across these young men, or men in general, it's not matching up, because here we action figured, whatever nonsense, and she's looking for, Prince Charming, and it doesn't really link up, and then you wind up with the family courts being filled with a bunch of delusional people, that thought life was going to be different, and come to find out, when you're, however many years down a road, you realize it was a lot of lies being told. So with my music, with my art, with these conversations, I just hope to help bring a little clarity, because of course I have real talks with my sons, and the thing about any, the women that listen, and most of the guys, because we already know we hard-headed, so I'm just giving the women a heads up. So it's not that we're not listening, it's just you got to be repetitive with the information. You got to be repetitive, especially with information that would help us as young men, grow into mature men. You got to be repetitive with it. You got to say it over and over. Even if I don't want to repeat myself, you got to repeat yourself, because if you're watching a TV program, guess what? That commercial comes on like 45 times before the show goes off. And when you go outside, there's always advertisement, everything, because they know they have to repeat themselves to get their point across. So if you have a child that you want to do better, then look at your environment when you go outside and use that same scenario in your house. You know who was crazy? One time I went in, I was like dealing with some label, and and they had like sayings up, good sayings, like sayings and empowering sayings. And some of the stores, department stores that I worked at, I would see these sayings, and those are key, because sometimes, when you drift off and you're just lost to your own, you're just left to your own vices, your own devices, you just, your mind sometimes, your mind would pull up television programs, and different things, that are not productive. So sometimes if you're in the house and you have a bunch of blank walls, hey, use them. I'm not saying right on your wall with a marker. You get those big poster boards from the dollar store. Maybe they have a Dollar Tree where you at, or here I'm advertising the company, you whatever 99-cent store. Write affirmations, empowering affirmations, and put them up in places eye level for your child, or even eye level for you, in your room, in your bathroom, throughout your house. Even if, I know some people are like neat freaks and don't want, things all over their house. Find a space in your house where people, whether it's yourself or their child, can come across or walk past it, and one day stop and look and read something and put that programming in their mind. Because when they go to the schools, the programming is counter that. So you gotta, give them, you gotta give them a chance to win. Give them a chance to win, because when they go to the streets and they out there and they talking to another child who's telling them to steal or telling them to do something, we're open to these things. So I just say, use your house, start with your house, with the programming. Program yourself to win. Find self-help quotes and affirmative quotes that could, help reprogram the mindset of the children, etc. Because the generations are being blitzed on, and it's not just by chance. It's not just it's not random. You understand? So when I put this video up, this next video, you'll see that this is something that's been going on and been a part of the program since the 1500s, you know, and you know, and it's not that it's not that it's really set up to stop. I did my best to counter their zombie blitz with the you know, with the drugs, and you know, I did my best to slow that up, and then they came back tenfold, and I did my best to try to counter some of that. But again, you know, when you're surrounded by people that's either usually conformed or not open to reality because they're in the bubble that they created, things get a little tough. And I'm in a position where, you know, whether it's politicians or people in power, you know, they all of the people, all the powerful people are watching, but the other it's the rest of us that, you know, we have this power, and if you're not co-signing the right thing, and if you keep co-signing the goofy shit, like that's why I'm like, I don't really, you know, like I got jokes and all of that or whatever, but at the same time, you know, there was you know, that for that past 8 years, I was not, my son went viral from being silly and all that, and you know, but at the same time, he would try to jump on and get some real information, and you know, I'll have him chop it up a little bit, you know, but he's going through his own little phase of maturing, et cetera, et cetera. So he'll, you know, you know, he's excellent, and you know, he's excellent with his conversation at the same time too. But it's something where, you know, we have to give each other a chance and the benefit of the doubt that, well, maybe somebody didn't teach that man to hold the door open. Maybe somebody didn't teach that woman to wipe the back, front to back, right? Front to back. There's certain things that not everybody was taught because, you know, you don't know everybody's life. And that's the point of that conversation. Let me see, you know, if there's anything else that, you know, the people got any questions, et cetera, et cetera. And I keep putting the link out if anybody want to jump on, because again, this is just an open conversation. And oh, damn, I should have called Joel, right? Somebody reach out to Joel, tell him to hop on and stop playing. Yeah, our community has been stuck in it. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, our community has been stuck in a delusional reality for a minute. Okay, I'm not in the era, but being honestly, I feel like millennials got it worse. Millennials are, damn, that's a good conversation. I'll carry with that. I'm an actor, added you on Facebook. All right, cool, perfect. All right, yeah, definitely. If you act, if you into the arts, whether it's music, art, acting, actresses, you know, you play an instrument, you do coding and things like that. I'm an entertainer. I'm building an entertainment brand. My entertainment brand, you know, obviously, Rawyal, the entertainment brand, is something where I'm doing my best to empower and help you hone your craft. I worked with a lot of amazing people. So what I did was I sponged a lot of information, and just so we can get things done. And I'm not the guy to make excuses. I get done what I could get done to the best of my ability. And that's why I've been filming a lot. I got a lot of things done that shit I didn't even know I could do, but I was forced to do it because, you know, when you ask for help, most people turn their back, you know. But at the same time, you know, I didn't know how to direct, but I knew how to do storyboards because, you know, making comic books and things like that. So in turn, I had to learn how to use the computer. Learn how to direct. And one of the director, I met this great director at this record label, and he was like, "Yo, yeah, come to my office. I'll help you." Da 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 da. I go to his office, and I have my whole video idea mapped out. And I just never forget. He said to me, "Yeah, brother, everybody got ideas." And I'm like, "So why would you tell me to come here? You know, because you wanted to help me film." So I was like, "All right, you know what? You know, I filmed the video that I wanted to film. I just found some random camera, filmed it, edited myself and everything. I had to learn everything, you know, on the spot, and I brought it back, and he was blown away, like, "Oh shit, who did this?" And I was like, "I did." He was like, and he just looked, he's like, "All right, well, any way that I could help you." So he wound up burning DVDs for me and things like that after that. But it's really a you know, for all of those people who have ideas, as an artist, I understand, I recognize the struggle. I know what it is. Sometimes we get thrown off.
because of life, etc., and some things that's unexplainable. But what it is just showing initiative. I like people that show initiative, and the world gravitates to people that show initiative. And if you show initiative, I'll do my best to help you. It's not something that I can say is just mapped out and very easy. But if it's something that you're really true to, like if you're really an artist, if you're really a musician, if you're really into the arts and you're open to the arts, and you act or you're an actress, and it's just an opportunity for entertainers right now. It's an opportunity for entertainers with some of the other platforms. So what I'm do is I just want to create a bunch of pre-recorded material, a bunch of filmed material, and because it takes a lot of time to edit and go through all of these things. So yeah, if you know somebody who has an amazing voice and could sing, then holla at me. If you know somebody who's not camera shy, if you know somebody who's not camera shy, holla at me, etc., etc. All right, so now let me just see. You say I'm at work. That's funny. All right, what up though? Yeah, definitely get you know, keep that paycheck going. You heard me? Let's see. Just answer anything. If I might have to call Joel. Error. Oh yeah. With the generations video, I didn't finish editing it. When I get back to the house, I should be able to post the video. So let's say within the next week, if you press the bell on the subscription, it'll definitely pop up. I'm not one of those guys that keep putting a bunch of nonsense up, so the bell won't go off and I won't blow your phone up, talking about, nonsense. Just so happened I came off of Joel's show, so I'm trying to have an open convo because it's Saturday and I usually don't do this, and I'm just trying to chop it up and do something out of the box, out of my norm. This is not my norm, but at the same time, I do have another channel where the weekly YouTube live streams are the norm. But let me see. I got an email. It's Rawyal10 at Gmail. Rawyal10 is into art, but not sure how to market a 14-year-old girl. Okay, let me see. All right, we're gonna have this. It was one that before I answered that one. That's a good art question. But it was one that was right before that I wanted to answer. Let me see. I wish you could turn around from selling drugs and all that. Yeah. A lot of those artists right now are like, I say, feds. Like those are like fake. They're not artists. They're not musicians. Those are just actual federal agents pretending to be artists. And obviously, you can see they're just trolls and made up. This is not, it's just who they know and how they know these people and how did they get this situation out of nowhere. I know musicians, and all types of amazing talent that should have been in situations, and you wonder how come they're not, and just some random guy out of nowhere that's talking about killing himself and drinking poison and popping a pill. All of a sudden he's number one on your favorite radio station, or a mainstream radio station. You got to look at that and and just know, like, these guys are are actual agents, and they get the cosign because people get paid to do things like that. Okay, let me see what it was. Something. Damn. Where you at? Generation. Okay. Yeah, we're trying to keep the conversation to what the people want to talk about. Because I can talk about what I want to talk about, but I want to, like, at least be able to be open to the conversation of what the people have on their mind. Because I usually wear my heart on the sleeve. You know what I'm saying? I usually put out what I got to talk about, and people sometimes hide behind bushes like, oh, why would you say that? And it's like, well, somebody needed to say it, but now it's like, I put you in the hot seat. I put the people in the hot seat. You say what you want to talk about, and then I can actually bring it up and answer it or do to the best of my ability. All right, so let's see. Okay, I can't see the other question. That it was something else that I wanted to answer. And saying, um, something else I wanted to answer, but I'll answer the art question. Answer the art question. Yeah. Um. Yeah. With with the way things are now, and say you have a singer that's really young or a singer that's really old, but they're really talented, and they're not sure about themselves. Nowadays, you don't really have to be in the front anymore. You can actually make a great recording, put up a beautiful piece of artwork, and just let the put it out in the universe like that. Put it out, and let people at least gravitate to it. That gravitate to it. So to me, as an entertainer, as an artist, and for that side of it, I think it's the best opportunity because it's an open landscape, and when you hear some of the veteran executives come out and make these statements, they say the same thing. Everybody knows that the boutique, like the Def Jams, the Loud Records, the Motowns, those boutique style labels, man, they kind of got leveled out and bum rushed by the internet, because there's artists that are not signed to anything other than just putting their music out and it going viral or whatever, because some of these guys are so computer savvy, they know the tricks. I'm from the traditional style of things, but I have to, I'm learning as I go with some of the other things. And okay, I so happen to put myself in a few positions and have a lot of good relationships with people, because I'm not into, burning bridges or whatever. But if you have a child, that you feel is talented and the world needs to hear, but you don't want to put them out as a child. You got what I'm saying? Like there was this young girl that this guy had, like, the studio. I went to the studio and they had a girl that her voice, well, she had the biggest voice, right? She could imitate anybody, but she had the biggest voice. And her parents, like, she had Muslim parents, and her father was really, like, nah, I don't want her into, the music or whatever. And her mother, like, they asked me to help her with something, and they asked her, and I was like, well, I need her to sing on something, right? So it was like a barter situation, a one-time, two-time barter situation, where if she sing something for me, then I will help her, with whatever record they was trying to get me to help her with. So I did this one thing, but again, the father was really not into, like, nah, 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 not my daughter. When she's older, then she can be, on the mainstream. But she had one of those voices that soon as you hear her, and soon as it's over. Like, people would just gravitate to her. So there's a lot of talent like that, but because of, depending on your life and depending on your situation, what winds up happening is most people really shy. And I'm working with, as a musician, I love, like, I'm actually a traditionally trained musician. Like, I'm classically trained. I, learn violin, piano, all of these. I learn how to read music, et cetera, et cetera. But, I'm boom bapped out. I learned from that too, so the way I'm able to work with jazz musicians and bring them to a contemporary style, to rock musicians and bring them to a contemporary style. So when you hear my music and when you get, I'm telling you, so I'm just telling you that the way I put it together is unmatched, unmatched, right? And I'm willing to back that word up to, with anybody that you go get, or anybody that, any of your favorite artists. And if you ask your favorite artist about me, I bet you'll look at his face and he'll be like, either he'll say I'm the truth, or he'll be like, you know, um, he or she. But anyway, uh, when it comes to releasing the music and new talent or older talent, older people that are really talented but really shy. Background singing is always good because I can always use a background singer. But at this point per se, right now, I need a couple of singers and actors and actresses that are not camera shy because I'm putting together a lot of material that I need more visuals with. And so happen, I love voices and I love the instrumentalists, but a lot of these people are camera shy. I have one singer that is on one of my records, Till I Find You, which is available now on Amazon.com and iTunes, etc. Rawyal, Till I Find You, sings her ass off, but doesn't want to be a singer, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, but the thing is, she doesn't want to be a singer. So she's like, don't put my name. So I'm like, how do you market, so I got to find somebody to put in her place. And, anywhere I go, I'm gonna just keep replacing her, as far as singing the hook, but the hook that's done on the record is phenomenal. And I'm working with so many people that are just not that just don't want to be on camera. Now, I'm introverted myself, but when it comes to art and music, I'm like, man, you need to see my art. You need to listen to my music. So I'm used to that. But, in regular life, I don't like talking about my sons. I don't like talking about, I get real isolated and hermetic, what you got, like a hermit when it comes to certain things. But when it comes to music and art and actually, helping the community, I'm willing to jump in the front and get it done. But for some people, when it comes to the art, they the opposite. And social life, they talk the most crap. They do this and they do that. But then you say, okay, go do it. Then they get shy and they be like, no, I can't. So, in respect to them, there's a space for all of that. But right now, I personally need people who's not as shy, and we'll get it done. And somewhere along the line, I'll find these people. But again, the email that you can hit me up is royal10@gmail, RAWYAL 10 @gmail, for the child support people. For the child support people that reach out to me for the child support, man, I'm gonna just tell you, man, just please, I love you, and just know that for dealing with the child support conversation, yes, I won. Yes, I have information that can help more people win. I put it out. I did it however long that video was. It was a long conversation. I put the video out. But to deal with each individual case per se takes a lot. So if you're asking me a question, if you're reaching out to me and you want to reach out to me about child support, I said, just donate something, it could be from $20 to $200, depends on how much help you need. Go donate something at PayPal. I had a GoFundMe up. I don't even remember it because, the shit stayed on zero for so long. And thank God I wasn't relying on that for anything, because people went and they paid this guy and that guy and that guy, and they PayPal'd everybody else. And then they came to me after all of those different people that they went to didn't help them get the results they needed. And they came to me with the brother. They didn't PayPal me. They just hit me with, hey, brother. And again, I got love, but at the same time, I also got, bills to pay, phones, extra, roof, and I got to raise my children. And again, I'm battling the court. I got another battle with the court just for them to get my money back. So I'm still building. So if you want me to help you and give you some advice, with your case, so you can strategically maneuver yourself in that game, because it's just all a game, then hit the PayPal. I'm not just randomly answering and typing. I don't even, like, I'd rather, man, talk to me, tell me what's going on, or you read your information, because I don't want to read 45 pages of your trials and tribulations. I got my own family who's going through stuff that I got to help and do my best to help. And so, I'm to help your family, I'll do my best, but fam, like, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I help you or help somebody who's looking to use the information to take advantage of somebody else who actually needs help. And that's really what I've been getting. A lot of people have been reaching out to me just just where it would be on the strength as if I'm trying to fraud them or scam them out of something. Like, I don't got time to scam you or fraud you for shit. I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't care. And when I say I don't care, meaning I don't like I don't have time to dedicate my life to figuring out how to scam you out of what. I don't care, man. I'd rather make a song that you can purchase on purpose. You got what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather paint a drawing that, man, could you do a portrait of my father or my son or my daughter? I'll do those things to earn my money. I don't want to scam anybody out of anything. I don't want to fraud anybody out of anything. I don't even want to be associated with that silliness. So that's why I went out of my way early on, years ago, and all the way up to, to the current time, to call things like that out. But people did what they did, and now they coming back to me like, hey, brother, you want to help? Hey, what? My bills is still due. You want to have a conversation? Much respect, shalom, hotep, Islam. But fam, like, hit that PayPal up, put something in there, and then we can have a conversation about the child support, because that is a headache. That's a headache. And strategically, I know how to maneuver and get out of it, because I've dealt with it. But at the same time, this is a type of conversation where the whole thing is to avoid, even being put in that situation anymore. So that's why this is an open conversation. We could talk about whatever, and you can even ask a child support question, and just for the sake of me answering questions, I'll answer something that that you have to ask. So I'm just answering questions right now, just chopping it up, and we can see where we at with the questions. Okay, Gina, thank you. She draws. I'm gonna send her a couple of pictures. Okay, so okay, what do you feel about motivating a generation to start black co-ops and think enter economics? Okay, you want to answer the generation? You wanted to answer the generation question. Okay, it was the generation question that I wanted to answer. Okay. What? Damn, I tried to think. You said, I know it wasn't intentional, but Generation X dropped the ball. I think I answered that one, because Womsey was saying that I don't think it was intentional, but Generation X dropped the ball. And I think we had that conversation where, again, it wasn't intentional, but we was just put in a position where they murdered all of the leaders and the teachers and the powerful minds that were supposed to keep everybody guided and on the right track, and and then replace them with these fakes and these agents, and the fakes became what you call that black exploitation and just propaganda. So pretty much that's what replaced real information, is just propaganda and black exploitation. If anybody want to reach out to Joel so he could jump in while I'll do that, or I'll actually reach out to him right now. I should just call him. All right, so let me see. What do you feel about the motivation? You feel motivate our generation to start black co-ops and to think inter-economics. Okay. What would motivate the children, the next generation, into that? That's a good question. What will motivate the children, man? I think they're motivated. These guys, like, I'm gonna tell you like this. The only thing with the next generation, or is ego. It's just checking that ego, because listen, I'm gonna say my youngest son, he's phenomenal at being an entrepreneur, and I come across a lot of these. The children born in 2000 are like, they pick it up like that. They have the motivation to do certain things, and they're super savvy. But certain things are not all the way in place for them yet because the military is holding out on some of the technology, until they have, a grip on, because when it comes to like the computer speed, China and the US are kind of neck and neck, and China has a one up on the US with making computers. And you know how the US is. The US will hold out until they get in the, until they get an advantage. But China has like a bunch of computers on this chart. It's something what they call like petaflops. It's like the fastest you can go, and I forgot how many China is up to, but they got the US beat uh, by a lot, by a big jump. So the US is just trying to get their things up to speed, and they're putting out some of their older computers. So the younger generation and our generation, well, we're starting to get introduced to some of those computers like the Kraken, and there's a bunch of them, but they're just starting to put those out in the public. And some of these corporations are just starting to use those computers. So I'm saying that because the younger generation, when it comes to international economics, they're dealing with bitcoins and they're dealing with digital currency, and that's non-traditional payment, non-traditional communication, non-traditional ways of doing business. So they're used to it already because of the video games. They see the advertisements on the video games, they see the advertisements on the sports. They see the advertisements, and some of them are already motivated to be a part of it and make their own thing and get their own thing going. So the whole thing is just so they don't drift off into the traps that people from our generation are setting. Okay, because the people from our generation, some of the ones that are still powerful but corrupt, powerful but they're broken. These broken, their mindset is broken. So uh, I was going to have a conversation about the guy from World Star. All right, so he's, if you look at his work, right, where he started from, he created a website just to market mixtapes. So he started a website just to market mixtapes, but then it just wind up turning into something that competed with YouTube and other platforms. Um, so when you look at the content that was on his channel, as and yeah, he was black, and he's working with his partners, but the content that was on his platform messed up the integrity of what could have been something even more powerful. um I'm not even going to get into whether he was killed or killed himself or murdered or whatever the case is on this conversation, but that's just saying that that's what happens to misguided genius. And that is why I'm looking at the generation coming up. They see us and they see examples of, well, World Star blew up shitting on everybody and just exploiting people, fighting and being nasty and negative, and they blew up. So these younger geniuses will be like, well, if we make a platform, then we can just go around and make pranks and be disrespectful and punch people in the face and light them on fire and this and that, and blow up, not understanding that that they're just creating a situation where they'll put themselves in a trap and do more damage than they do good. So the whole thing is not, I think they're pretty motivated. I think the ones that are not motivated are pretty much Generation X and Y at this point. I think it would be more motivation to make the people do the right thing. So I try to use myself as an example because trust and believe I'm one of those who can do the wrong thing at any given time, but I program myself to stay doing the right thing because I think I'm a good guy. It's like I, would consider myself to have balance and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm a new soul compared to some of the old souls that I grew up with. and some of the old souls are a lot more jaded and a lot more merciless, and don't really care too much. And what I call a generation of messiahs, meaning we coming off of that generation of men and women of power, but it's just how you use it, because a lot of the guys that that I grew up with, were the ones, murdering each other and poisoning. They'll poison your family. You know what I'm saying? Poison your family, shoot your family up, poison your family, and walk away like, okay, and what, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Rob you, just steal, da 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 da. And there's no. We're not exempt from. We're not exempt from. It's not like I'm holier than thou. Like I never did anything wrong in my life. That's not the case. I'm just saying that when you pull yourself out of these scenarios, it's just up to us at this point to use ourselves as examples. And that's where the Malcolm X conversation kind of gets messed up, because yes, he went to prison and came out, a better man, and he, wound up being a Muslim, etc. But you got to realize they're using him as an example to go to prison. Like, if you want to be a good guy, go to prison, and then you'll come out better. And 2 out of 10 is coming out better. The rest is not coming out better. They're coming out unable to find work, or work that they can actually build from. They're coming out finding themselves caught in between a rock and a hard place, because some of the trades that they're learning are trades that you can't come into the workforce if you have a criminal record. So they're stuck with a trade that they can't use sometimes, or most of the time. There's some of the brothers that I grew up with, that are trying to create programs where they're able to hire felons, but the mindset of doing wrong is the program that's out there, because it fills up the prisons. And if you're familiar with, if you've seen, I'm not sure how many people have seen that documentary Ava DuVernay put out, called The 13th. Now, it's not the perfect documentary, but the information in there that's talking about the prisons is just facts. The facts of that documentary are facts that you can't dispute. And you see the rise of the prison population within the latter years, from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the explosion in the 90s and the 2000s. And that comes from the program. They mastered the program, to usher people into the prison system, usher people into making poor decisions, unnecessarily doing things and overstepping their bounds. And I feel that we don't have to perpetuate that anymore. We're in a position where we can we can make wiser decisions. So I think the motivation would be to motivate them to stay on the up and up, and to do the right thing, and give themselves a chance, and that self-love, that self-determination. So those things are really key. And I think a lot of people overlook those things, because a lot of people don't have that self-confidence to do the right thing. So they'll just become victims to what you call that, when somebody kind of like, yeah, do it. What's that, peer pressure type of scenario? So the peer pressure scenario, maybe it's going by a different name at this point, but that's really where a lot of people are at. And some of the younger generation are really the peer pressure generation. Like, they're really the peer pressure, like, hey, once one do it, then, the whole group jumps in. And the whole group is jumping off cliffs at this, at this point, because a lot of that generation is using heroin and the K2 and the drugs, and again, that heroin, the heroin is not something to, just, take lightly. Heroin that's the zombie drug. That's that's anybody who's familiar with that whole heroin era is something that you don't want your neighborhood or your community to ever experience. That heroin, like my uncle was on heroin. I had family members that was on heroin, and I just remember, like, she used to look disgusting. I just remember as a child, I'll never forget the conversation, or before my uncle had passed away. I just remember the last thing he said to me. walked up to me and showed me his arms, and his arms was all like, his arms was swollen, his legs were swollen, and had like a bunch of holes in his arms. And he said, "This is heroin. This is what happens when you use heroin. Don't use drugs. You want to use drugs?" And I was like, I just remember that image, and because I was looking like, what's that, and I just remember that answer, and certain things that I held on to, and I was like, that's why it took me a really long time to ever drink or smoke weed. It took me a really long time to to even adjust to that, and I'm still at a point where no way would I allow any of those things to dictate how I function, because I, I think the generation also have to be aware of being addicted to the wrong things. Addiction is another big thing, because you can be addicted to video games. They have these video game addiction addicts that can't function without the video game, television addicts, etc. So it's just, you got to give yourself a breather, give yourself a chance to take breaks. And let me see if there's any other parts of the conversation that yeah, the K2, the meth, yeah, the Molly, that heroin, yo, a 19-year-old had told me, he was like, yo, 19, he said the heroin is damn near on every corner, and heroin is how you get your pills. If you ever got prescribed a pill, that's heroin. Actually, it's a opiate. Opium is heroin. When you hear opioids, opiate, and say oxycontins, the oxycodone, any pill that is prescribed from these doctors and the guidance counselors that's trying to get the children to use these pills, they're trying to get them hooked on heroin. It's just heroin. It's just a form of heroin. And when they can't get the pills anymore, excuse me, pardon. Let me see. When they can't get the pills anymore, they go to the streets, and when they go to the streets, some find the pills, but they get the heroin, and the batch of heroin that's out is so powerful and potent right now. It's just killing people. They don't even have a chance to recover, because from the last Afghanistan situation, that's really what they was, for anybody, anybody that knows what's going on, that last war, that so-called 9/11 war, and then they go to Afghanistan for them poppy fields. You got Poppy Bush, et cetera, et cetera. That whole Afghanistan war is all about heroin. Whether it's China, Britain, the U.S., that whole thing is about that heroin, because all the big pharma is running off of heroin. So all they did was legalize, or uh, put a happy smile on that whole drug situation. And what they did to us, what they did to the Black community, is when you see like some of the drug dealers from back in the days, when they were selling heroin, what did they do? They mocked them. They told them, "Oh man, you're the poison in the community," and the prison system shot up to millions and millions in prison because of selling and this and that. But if you go to your doctor and you ask them, what kind of pill is this? You're going to say it's an opioid. And you say, okay, you Google what an opioid is, and you see it's it derives from the opium plant. And then you Google where heroin comes from the opium plant. And you realize that opium is heroin, is morphine, it's all of those things, all of those pain killing type of pills are coming from the opium plant. And that is where you're getting all the last wars and that whole fake terror and all of these things, because they got a grip on that. And now they bring in high quality heroin, and the new guys, the new scenario with the drug dealers out there are, I'm not going to say they're not chemists, because but the way they're cutting the heroin is, and whatever they add in, whatever the cut on it or whatever the case is, it's not, something isn't right. So a lot of people, if you even take 3 seconds and Google or YouTube heroin, you know how many documentaries that come up with heroin, and how many, because now it's beyond the Black community, it's in the white community, because it's like it's like these corporations that's using these drugs are not living people. It's just a corporation that's just driven by the numbers. They're just driven by, yo, how many numbers is it? Oh man, they want to they want to keep their numbers. It's a numbers game when it comes to these corporations, and they eating their own right now. That's really eating their own, and it's something that's not new. And if you look at what happened with China with their with their opium explosion that Britain put on them, that buried their economy. That just buried them. It buried China, and so much so to the point where they had to bow out to the Rockefellers when they came back to them in the 60s, and that's where everything became made in China, because the deal was, you do this for us, we do this for you. And it was just a private backdoor conversation. And now, when we put in a position, when you hear, well, with the Trumps and with the Putins and the Chinese government, don't fall for it. They're trying to set up a scenario where people will believe we're in a World War III scenario situation where it's just something that's preventable. It's preventable, or again, you can stall it out to the point where we won't have to. We can avoid our children being drafted into a fake war. You got what I'm saying? So the more people that's aware of how fake and how history is, they're trying to repeat history, then you would realize, like, okay, now everything ties in together. Everything is all together. So when you see the children in Chicago supposedly torturing somebody live on Facebook, and then they go from that, and then they show a picture of Bin Laden's so-called Bin Laden's son, and he wants revenge. And they showing a baby picture of Bin Laden, Bin Laden's son as a juvenile. So if if Bin Laden's son was shown, if this picture was shown and he's 14, then they're trying to just think 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, when that same picture comes back up and he's an adult, and they're going to say, oh, it's his son. He got revenge because this, but if if you say the beginning was BS, so the ending, and the rest of that is BS too. So that's why I like to check a lot of this stuff, as far as like just exposing it for being fraudulent and fake, because I like enjoying life. I love, my people. I love, I want to get to, having fun and all of that. And it's hard to have fun when people are like, oh man, they're going to do this. And I'm like, yo, that's fake. And they be like, come on, how's that fake? And then I gotta be like, oh man. So then I go and I try to bring the information. I put the information up, and when I put the information up, it's just so people can calm down, and and it just ease the mind, and have less stress, because stress also causes cancer. And again, let me see what's going on. Let me see if there's any parts of the conversation that should. Nah, yeah, definitely the weed ain't pure. It's like too many different versions of something that's simple. You say, I agree. She admitted that come on. Young women, strategic. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course, there's always an agenda. That's right. The point is, most people are gonna want to position that she got. Okay, y'all having a conversation. I'm like, bringing up your conversation. It's like I had to jump in. Yeah, so definitely, if there's like any, just again, it's just an open conversation. So if anybody has just random, yeah, who is Cardi B? You're mad funny. Stop playing. she's yeah, she's just an entertainer. Just shit. If anybody familiar with Hunts Point, now Hunts Point has turned into. Now, I have to admit, when I was young, I was like, damn, why don't all the ladies walk around naked like this? so some sick-minded person, that grew up, never changed their mind. Like as a child, there's things that we would say, like that's why I'm like, it's a lot that our generation need to correct. because I know for a fact a lot of this stuff is coming from our generation, because the seedless watermelons and the seedless fruits is something where I just remember being a child, like, damn, why so many seeds? Like, I don't want to spit out seeds all the time. Why just can't be the fruit, you know? And, some guy or somebody, man or woman, thought about the same thing and wind up taking the seeds out the fruit, but that's not good because it alters the gender of your child. It alters your DNA, alters your child's child. If it doesn't affect you, it affects your child. If it doesn't affect your child, it affects your child's child. Another thing I want to say, just simple practical stuff. When it comes to like styrofoam. Now, if I seen, read something about styrofoam and homosexuality, the chemical that's in it is now. I'm not the type that, like, when I hear certain things like the styrofoam, and whether it's the cell phones and this and that, or the soy, certain things, certain information that comes out that becomes available to the people. I look at it like this, like even if it's a lie, even if it's a lie, I'm like, I'll just take caution. So to be cautious. So now think about it like this. Maybe some of you drink coffee. Maybe some of you, go to barbecues or picnics or whatever, whatever is, a cookout, where or you go to fast food restaurants. Because I know a lot of people, are not cooking as much or whatever the case is, but uh, and you get styrofoam plates. Now, you could put wax paper under it, so that chemical doesn't melt into your food, because that BPA, and the other chemical that can alter your DNA and possibly perpetuate that whole too much estrogen in a man, too much testosterone in women, etc., that creates that chemical imbalance. It has to be something that across the board that we're all doing something in common, because there's people in Africa and India and China and America, all over the world, Australia, all over the world. Everybody's kind of having the same scenario. Just because people say, I don't want to deal with the homosexual or same sex situation or whatever. If anybody has, like, I know some people who had babies, and of course, again, like I said, like, one day, I want to have more children, etc. But we got to fix the world. We got to make the world a better place, a lot better. We still got some work to do. But anyway, for the people that have babies, or maybe you don't, or whatever the case is. But if you go in a supermarket and you pick up baby food, a baby, just say it's like Similac or Infamil or whatever, like some of the baby foods, and you look at the ingredients, and you'll see soy in there. Now, if you have if you did any research on soy, or you do some research on soy, you'll realize that the soy is not really meant for human ingestion. Okay, it's really not meant for humans to digest. Okay, so the soy creates an imbalance in young men, and makes them it pushes estrogen in the young men. So when people say, are people born gay or whatever, I don't I say no, they're not born gay. But from early on, think about the Chinese restaurants with the styrofoam containers and the soy sauce and the soy that they cook it in, right? Now just think about how long and how many Chinese restaurants are in your neighborhood. But I know, see, in New York is a lot different, because we stacked on top of stacked on top of stacked on top of stacked. Whereas some other places, you guys are a little more spread out. But in New York, Chinese restaurants and liquor stores, and those are common. Like Chinese restaurants, liquor stores, Starbucks. Those are like everywhere. Dwayne Reed, Rite Aid. But uh, just think about the eating habits. The baby, you're giving the baby soy, right? You're giving the baby soy. and what's happening to the little girls is some of them, lupus soy is pushing lupus into women and lupus in a lot of people, but the soy is damaging the babies and it's creating other issues. And then the plastic so it's so many little things that comes into play when it comes to what our generation can prevent the next generation or the generation after that from dealing with, because uh, we're aware that there's a problem. We're at that age where it's like, you know what, there's a problem. Let's have a conversation. So we're at that age where the younger generation, it has to be popular for them to care. So that's why I say, okay, my son loves my music. You know what I'm saying? Like, he gravitates to my music. And I see, like, there's like 5-year-olds, when they hear my music, like, they'll gravitate to my music, like, play that song. So I'm conscious about some of the things that I say, just so the programming in my music actually helps in the long run. Because if they're going to repeat something over and over and over and over again, then at least, they'll create it'll create a better program. So when they're put in a scenario or situation, whether it's dealing with relationships or diet, et cetera, I have to put things in a way where it just keeps them, on the right track. But there's scientists from our generation. There's computer programmers. There's designers, and there's people who are outspoken. That's why I say I'm not really too much into tearing each other down, um, because we're at a point where I think we're stripped down to the bone already. So now it's time to start, start putting some meat on that bone, some, the muscles, the meat, et cetera, just to build so we can actually move and get this thing going. Because the children are left exposed to the worst of our kind, to the worst of the worst, and we're not getting younger. Where if you have these younger generation coming up, heroin addicts, drug addicts, programmed to kill, programmed to do the wrong thing, programmed with no empathy, no compassion, no sense of reason, and you're older walking around. If you go to your local news station right now and you type in, you'll see, old, you see all type of people getting busted in their head, and they take their money or they taking a while, whatever the case is. Now, this younger generation coming up, the program that they got is on a trillion, with nonsense. So the best thing is, a lot of them think for themselves, so they're not as a lot of them think for themselves, but they're just doing things out of habit, like, just because I just did it. Why you did that? I just did that. So it's up to us to sometimes have these conversations and do what you can to help with your house. And I would say one of the tricks is, it's just a simple trick. Write it down, put it on your wall, write it down, get the affirmations. If whether it's like, take out the garbage, um, fix this, write it down. Where if you're around, if you have other people in your house, where even if they're not looking, their mind is going to pick it up and their mind is going to read that. Find some affirmations, write those things, write the affirmations that you feel will empower you, or the person excuse me, the family member or a friend that you're around. Write the things down, whether you put it on your door before you leave, the inside of your door, the outside of your door. Just I think that's really key. And because I want to get to a point where I can begin to create the image and the visual, put the visual part where you could kind of see the future in a better light. Because some of our geniuses have projected the future very dismal and very apocalyptic like. So people are subconsciously moving towards that, and they're creating scenarios where they're moving towards that, where I'm like, okay, there's the same way to project a life, a prosperous life. So there's a way to do it from audio and visual, etc. So just beginning to present that, but at the same time, you gotta like kind of like, you know, shake off the fleas, etc. You know, like clean off the nonsense and get this, deal with some of the nonsense that's going on, because a lot of people are still distracted from the nonsense. So while dealing with that, I'm like, that's why I'm like, yo, I need some more actors and actresses, and you know, so we can find entertaining ways to attract the younger generation to find doing the right thing entertaining or cool, because it's been cool to be a crackhead. It's cool to be a dope addict. Is what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like they're making being the worst cool, and that's why it's a problem. That's why I didn't rush to go into a major label situation. And now it's like, okay, damn, you know, coming across and coming, you know, messing around with this child support and that pushing me back. And that was like, damn, like now I'm really where I got to deal with the banks. And if I got to deal with these guys, and I got to do business with people who may not have the same ethics, you know, or standards that I have to be able to be strategic and smart enough that I'm able to still make progress. So that's why right now I'm functioning on my own accord. I'm doing my own thing. And that's why maybe this information, you know, in this conversation helped somebody out, you know, maybe gave a new perspective on something. But I always do that with my art, and I always do that with my music. And that's why I try to say, okay, well, that's available, and that's done in a way where anybody can listen to it. You don't have to be afraid to, if I press play, I can't listen to this around my children. Like it's still just as fun. It's still, you know, still just as entertaining. So that's what I can do on that end. But then these conversations is for the adults. These is, you know, this is what this is about. It's just for, you know, for that you know, that whole group that's like, yo, let's just chop it up. Let's just, you know, give a conversation. I'll try to wrap it up right now because I got to go get some food right now, because I talking with Joel and and damn, I should have messed around and supposed to have him on the show, but my fault. But you're on the show. You're the guest on today's show. Like you're the guest. You know, pardon me if you was lowered in because Joel's name was on it. But we'll have Joel on my show now because I was on his show and did a marathon conversation on his platform. But we'll have him on my platform, and maybe he want to air out something, and because he got a lot to offer too, and maybe he could talk about how he got his, you know, how he got his brick and mortar uh, 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 store. You know, where a lot of when you talk about building an economy, you can get, you know, that's a good conversation to have because he has us on there talking about, you know, different ways, but that's a good conversation to have too. Like, yo, how you got the store? You understand? Because you know, being a man or woman of color, getting bank loans, is it a bank loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, so there's questions. I'm gonna have him on the show, and I apologize if, you know, people came just because for that. You know, I'm not a sorry person. I'm just saying, not to be elusive with the title. The title was because I just came from a Joel interview. I just had the interview with him on his platforms. Most of the people that's online, they know that. But for those that don't know that, that's what it is. I'll change the title later on to just Open Convo with the people, because you are the star. Once you wake up, you realize you're the star. I'll answer a couple of more, and then everybody can, you know, we could get back to whether it's food and work and whatever else everybody's going. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see what we got going. What we got going. Yeah, they glamorizing the wrong things for sure. Speak on it. Speak on it. Okay. All the black boys are gay. Eat Chinese food, the styrofoam, the soy. Those are key to why homosexuality exploded. Exploded. You know, and it's not just, you know, the music, or, you know, for the few that were molested as children. You know, the few that were molested as children, that is one reason why there's a lot of men that are gay, you know. But at the same time, just look at those food ingredients. Look at those food ingredients. You know, why they have medical issues, and you know, how is the baby water? Why does the baby water have fluoride in it? Fluoride, they say, oh, it's for their teeth. Babies don't have teeth. Teeth. You got what I'm saying? So why is there fluoride in the water? Because it calcifies the pineal gland. They put it on the toothpaste. You know, you find your toothpastes and you find your things where you know you don't that don't have fluoride in the toothpaste. You know, I see Joel was advertising that, and if he was on the show right now, he would be advertising it. But again, we'll have that conversation when he gets on. But yeah, a lot of it is the foods, it's the diets, because you know, it's just key because man, it seemed like it was just isolated, but it's too widespread. And the only thing that we got in common with people that's on some of these other places is the food, the water, the drinks, the way that the food is being handled. And if there's a bunch of reports that's saying the same thing, like, yo, this is, you know, can mess up the chemical balance, you know, and then apart from the projections of the TV shows and the movies, and you know, there's a TV show. Hold on, I gotta tell this little thing real quick, um, because there was like this movie Moonlight. And I'm gonna tell my brother, it's mad funny, because I said don't watch the movie. I said the movie was trash, right? Because I think I watched Hidden Figures, which I was scared. I thought it was going to be trash. I thought they was going to be extra slaved out or whatever, which it wasn't. Hidden Figures was actually a great movie. They didn't try to make it like, oh, this is why we landed on the moon. Never landed on the moon, but the math that they used was key. So now the people that was in this movie Moonlight wind up in this movie. Like the some of the actors that was in this movie Moonlight was in this movie Hidden Figures, and they did an amazing job. But now when they in this movie Moonlight that I just seen advertised everywhere, everywhere. I just go to the theater. I'm like, it's a black movie. I'll give it a chance. Go into it. Oh man, oh man. It was like, it was just the worst of the worst. And then at the same time, I left before it got worse than what I seen. And my brother was like, "Yo, man, you didn't tell me they went Brokeback Mountain on it." And not because guess what? After I seen they had the children, they had the young men as if they were comparing their penises. You know what I'm saying? Like they had the little boys in the room, like, "Yo, come in. You got to show me your penis." And it was like, I'm like, "What the fuck? Who wrote this script?" You know, and then it was just horrible. But come to find out, it gets even worse than that. So if you've seen it, sorry. It's like, but I'm warning you. I'm warning you. There's a bunch of movies and a bunch of television shows that project this lifestyle as if it's cool, and then you see Moonlight was awarded. You know, so they're awarding men and women for doing the wrong thing. They're awarding artists for doing trash, for destroying the family structure and the culture. They're awarding people for that. So a lot of the music, a lot of the shows, see, as an entertainer, I got so many battles that I got to deal with. And then I come into what you would call a conscious community, and I see like, damn, man, I thought the battle was over, or, you know, would have had more help, you know, assistance, and or I thought I was going to be able to assist some of the, you know, men and women get to where we needed to go, but not shoulder shoulder that much of the load or whatever. But a lot of it, a lot of the things that we gotta do to counter this stuff is with the music. You know, it's with the movies, the visuals. A lot of these things are things that I'm master and I'm really great at. And again, that's why I say, yo, listen, if you sing, if you know how to play an instrument, if you act, you know, actor, actresses or whatever, if you are artist, you know, if you're computer programming, you know, reach out, you know, Rowyal10@gmail. And I'm thinking like, you know, at some point, when I get like 3 seconds to actually really focus and clean up the website. The website is there. It got all the music. It got all the art. Not my art. I don't put my drawings on too much stuff. But obviously you can see the designs. But with the music is up on royalmusic.com. The news and information is royalnews.com. If you like the YouTubes and the documentaries, that's obviously on this channel. Please press the bell so you can stay aware and alert to when I put out some of these other, some of this other edited information. This is just straight raw. This is like just a raw conversation, open conversation. But yeah, we got a little battle on our hands, but I think we're in a better position because the tools and communication is faster with this right here. The communication is a lot faster, with opposed to I got to write a letter, put it in a book, or I got to write an entire book, wait for it to get published, or for somebody to care to publish it, or wait till I can get X amount of money to make my own copies and publish, self-publish and all that. Like you can actually, excuse me, you can actually go digital, and you can put the information out a lot faster. Excuse me, like Dr. Amos, like his book is like a Bible, the size of a Bible, but his conversation is pretty much what was written in that book. And I was able to absorb his conversation because I ain't built for reading that book like that and in human hours. You got what I'm saying? So I got it, and I don't want to be in no prison situation where I got that much time on my goddamn hands. And one day I'll figure out what a vacation is, because I don't even know what that is right now. Every time I go over there, I'm like, oh, this is a good place to film. I'm always doing something. I'm always trying to find a way to keep things creative while I got that, while I got that energy. But I'll, go back. If anybody got any last things, we should just build on, because again, it's just an open conversation. Because you're the star. Joel ain't here right this second. And if I get a hold of him, it's kind of late anyway. But we'll build with him on another. We'll build with him later on, or whatever. But if there's anything else, just before we wrap up, let's give it like maybe another 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes, or something like that, or less. Depending if everybody's good. Just let me know if there's anything else we could build on. If we good, we covered. Covered all the questions. Then that's what it is. I'll put the link in the chat if anybody want to jump on before it's over, where you can like say if you got something to advertise. As an advertiser, I'm telling you, I'll give you an opportunity to advertise. So when I put the link out, long as you're not disrespectful or anything like that, just give yourself a shout out, give your family a shout out, or whatever the case is. I just put the link out. I put the link out before I put it out again right now, because it get buried sometime in the chat. But yep. So let's see what's going on. What's going on? Okay, you sent the email. Okay, so how come it didn't go through? I ain't see it yet. It didn't go through yet. Hope you put it at Royale10 at Gmail. All right, so let's see. This guy was showing me. Hey, man, listen. My sister told me, was the first one to tell me about that DL lifestyle, the download lifestyle, and I just didn't believe it. She was like, "Yeah, some of the most toughest guys that be out here in this neighborhood fronting, blah, 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 blah." Like, I just remember being really young, and oh man, and that was years ago. You got what I'm saying? Like that was years ago, and she was like, "Yeah, if you walk past a certain street in New York, when you hit a certain block, you see these same tough guys holding hands and kissing." And I didn't believe that, but yeah, it's true. It's real. I'm sorry. It's crazy. Yeah, Royale10 at Gmail. Yep. Okay, what's going on, Marilyn? Let me see. I know exactly what you mean. Okay. Check out that artwork. Okay, she got art skills. I'm gonna check it out. It's incredible that these women to make kids. Yeah. Yo. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, the youth is unfortunately that's who the target audience is. You know what's crazy when it comes to hip hop, when it comes to music, let's just say black music per se, right? And you hear people say man, hip hop is, that's like now I can't front. Like I was turned out onto hip hop, really young or whatever. But when people say still to this day, like hip hop is for 15-year-olds or whatever the case is, I'm like, fam, like, so why advertise liquor with hip hop? If hip hop is for 15-year-olds, right? Just because we grew up in the hip hop era, right? Hip hop is a music form um, that is like is at this point like it qualifies like the jazz, like the blues, like rock and roll, etc. Like it's qualified, like we're qualified to be in the conversation of music. So maybe some people that don't consider themselves musicians, that's on them. Now, hip hop is used to advertise cars, drugs, liquor, all of these different things. And if you keep saying hip hop is for children, what type of sick mother are you to know that if it's for children or for a younger generation, but then be the first ones to say, okay, we needed to advertise Hennessy, Grey Goose, Ciroc, Effin, all of these different liquors, et cetera, cars, lean, pills, drugs, knowing the influence and the effect in the audience that it's attracting. You got what I'm saying? So when you mature and as a musician, most musicians, get frustrated. Most artists get frustrated if they don't get these overnight results. A lot of artists and musicians don't know that it doesn't work like that. Like, I was signed to a major label. I was signed to Jive. Again, I don't work with from Shaka Khan, the KRS-One, the Jada Kids, the Styles, DMX, Swiss, the Dame Greases, I believe the Full Force. They was writing the Britney Spears songs. I done worked with all like types of producers, musicians, all types of people, right? And you know, I what I know is most artists still, have to realize that it was that didn't most of these things didn't happen for some of our greats. It didn't just happen overnight. If you hear KRS story, he was like, man, shit, I was homeless too. It was like, I was sleeping on the bench, and I thank God, what's his name, did a diss record to me because that was enough to propel me or, to whatever, to the point where he's now KRS-One. So it's something where, you have, you know, you got we're in a time, a day and time where the music and the creative energy that we invest into making a difference, has to be we gotta. I don't want to create like a censorship for it, but we have to be mindful about what's going on around us because I think we could turn everything around, but again, I'm gonna do my part, and for those out there, that's in the same boat, and that's out there, that's creatives. I'm with you in support, and because we got the younger generation that's being affected by all of this stuff, and they're putting it in the music, and they putting the garbage in there, and it's when you listen to the FBI interviews or these so-called agents or double agents that were interviewed early on in some of these documentaries, and you hear them say things like, yeah, we would purposely do things, and we purposely, and now this is the 60s and the 70s, and just think about how many fraternities, sororities, and all of that have and the doctrines in the churches and all of that is in it. So just think about how much nonsense and how many people with a colonized mind, with their minds, and they're mentally colonized. Their minds are not free. They're not free thinkers. They don't have free minds. So they are still trapped into an old way of thinking. And who's the old way of thinking? Not ancient, an old way of thinking of oppression. And they're functioning as satellites for the oppressor. And I think that's that's a good way to say it. Like they're just satellites for the oppressive system that's holding a lot of us back and ruining so many families. And I guess I'll wrap it up. I guess I'll wrap it up. And again, I appreciate everybody who was active. I'll give everybody a shout out in the chat. Again, this is just an open conversation. We just was kind of touching, just answering some of the stars out there, because you guys are the stars. And so it's just an open conversation. I'm grateful for anybody who took time to out of their day to tune in and listen. And again, subscribe, press that bell, and I'll keep the information going. When I get back, when I get back home, I'll be sure to toss out some more information. I don't want to take advantage of my friend's spot, but at the same time, I just wanted to jump on and just share a little bit of share a little more energy. And let me see what's going on. Let me see what's going on before I get back to advertising my records that's available right now. Let me get back into that. Yeah, they definitely glamorizing the wrong things. Yes. You're welcome. Thank you for having a conversation with me. Okay, for joining the conversation. Yeah, okay. Yes. No, it's I appreciate that. Definitely stay grounded. Definitely stay grounded. It took a lot of work to stay grounded, because I'm I'm an artist, so we the dreamers. So it took some work to program myself to stay grounded, meaning practical in a way where it's more than just it's more than just something imaginative that as an artist. So I just keep myself open to the ancestors and channeling to create my art and my music, but at the same time a practical way to stay grounded and humble, to be able to listen to the people that are affected by the things that we create. You got what I'm saying? So that is the grounding that I needed. Do I mentor? I I think so. I think I would be considered a mentor, because I'm really there's an art school that's that asked me to come through and help some of the musicians and the artists. And I get excited about stuff like that, because they're the innocents. They're the ones who still have a fighting chance to carry out the rest of the things that we're trying to get done, as far as making the world a better place, and making life a lot better, opposed to standing there doing nothing. So it's definitely we definitely gotta do what we can. And with our mentor, yeah, whether it's just being strategic, whether it's like the online and things like that, finding the time that makes sense. And it's not a problem, because shit, there's all types of people that need information and advice, whether young or old or whatever. So again, I just do my part. But when it comes to that child support information, to the brothers and sisters that need that information, just know that this is gotta go to the PayPal. Go to the PayPal. So I'm gonna just give a shout out to the people. Just gonna give a shout out to the people. Okay. Yeah, Tanya Jones, peace. Ken, my brother Kenny was popping. You already know. Thank you for for actually jumping on. These are T's. What's going on? The Stick Up Kids, peace. Lovable Glow. Okay. The Stick Up Kids. Bismillah. You already understand. These are the early shout outs, but I'm gonna still give you because you still active. Ivana Hapalat. I hope I said that correct. That's Hot 8. What's going on? Respect to you. Thank you for tuning in. To Queen of Hilton. I had a lot of ladies listening today. I feel special. Thank you. Okay, the Stick Up Kids. Anastasia Beaver Husson. Okay. What's going on? And you the one who was asking about the astrology. Thank you for tuning in. Val Wilder. Val Wilder. Okay. Let's see who else. Okay. Womsy C. Polly. Womsy Polly. Pardon me if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm not, man, like I don't, you know how people be calling your name at some of the offices. Hey, would you name your child Cabbage? it's like, your child name be named Cabbage and shit. You be like, Cabbage Jenkins, come to the office. You be like, oh God, my name is not Cabbage. Yeah, that should be a baby name. I bet you that's somebody's baby name. Shit, somebody. We can. Let's see, Marty Missionary. What's going on in the future of the Black community? Yes, yes. To Tequima Hilton. Which I think I answered that. You already know which one of the tracks you could twerk to. Hashtag. And I will get back to advertising that before I go with the last people that's on, and whoever's on, definitely please, if you would it, definitely press that up button, and if you got 99 cents on one of those cards, purchase one of the records or purchase all three. Because if you balling, you got $3, ball out, man. Purchase all three and have me, and put that music in your playlist. Gave a shout out to Anastasia. Suicide H29, that was at work, still dropped in on the chat. I appreciate that, truly appreciate that. Let's see, Ivana, I give you a shout out. Gina John, real active on there. Said the delusion is real with the community. Yeah, been stuck in denial. That's a fact. The community been stuck in denial for a while. That's what we correcting right now. Janine Morales, who's active and chatting, and I appreciate that. And much love to you. Melanated Carbon, Islam. As many words as wisdom as I can spare. I'll just keep going with it. And let's see. Live Eden Life. Again, my brother Ken. Okay. Let's see. Just third eye first. Shalom. Shalom to you. Tahaka, Hotep, what's going on with you, fam? Okay. Oh, let's see who else we got. Trying to make sure I give all the shout outs. Marilyn Walker was popping. What's going on with you, family? Janine. And okay, yep. So yeah, I think we wrapped it up, and I'm gonna do this last little thing before I get out of here. I'm going to make sure I get my little advertisement on. And again, just peace to the family, peace to everybody who tuned in, whether it was Joel's show, whether it's my show. I appreciate y'all coming from Joel's show to my little channel right here, and showing love and spending your Saturday afternoon. Spending your Saturday afternoon with me. Okay, so now pretty much, again, I'm gonna tell you, I got this record out. It's called The Killing Gotta Stop. I got a record out called Till I Find You. I got a record out called Hashtag. And again, any of those records, are records that will be worth the purchase. Any of those records will be worth the purchase. Please take time to check the records out. I think they put I know they put snippets. They put snippets on the. Damn, I'm spelling this wrong. I put kill. Wow. They put snippets online or whatever, so you can get a snippet of it or whatever. But And if you tuned in and you like what I'm talking about, the music is even hotter because there's a beat to it, and a lot of people actually log on and watch some of my videos just because of the beats. They like I done seen a few people like, damn, your soundtracks be hot, your intros be hot, or whatever. So let me do this real quick. Let me just again at least get my advertisement on real quick before we before we actually wrap it up and get out of here because it's again I got to get some food, man. I'm like starving right now. Let me see. Did I do this properly? Let's see. Let's see. So yeah, while you got 3 seconds, let me know if there's something else that we need to build on before I get back into my thing. Okay, all right. Again, here go the record, Amazon.com. This is not no scam. This is not me just randomly doing something that, this is not just me making stuff up. This is Amazon.com. I don't gotta send it to you. When I do the video DVD of all the videos, then guess what? I gotta ship that. And in order for me to ship that, I'm gonna need money. So in order for me to do some of these things, it takes cash and it takes all of this stuff. So again, here you go. The Killing Gotta Stop is available right now. It's an amazing record produced by Dame Grease. Dame Grease, phenomenal producer, a great friend of mine. Took time to work with me and give me this track, and I did my best to what we call body the track. But at the same time, I say the killing got to stop because in the city where I'm from, it always trickles from the top. This record is a soulful record, and it got a lot of meaning to it. You obviously see the title, but when you listen to it, it's phenomenal. It's just great, and all of these records are radio-friendly records, but that's at the same time got the same soulful effect of a Sam Cooke, a James Brown, a Michael Jackson, etc., etc. Hashtag, if you want to get your twerk on, if you want to drive, when you want that, you need that extra adrenaline rush, and you driving to work, or you want to just, you just by yourself in your house and want to get your twerk on, you want to get your, pop drop and all that other stuff. Hashtag is the record for you. Rawyal, hashtag. You see that one right there. It's available 99¢. Again, Till I Find You. Real big song, it's real California like, but when you hear the flow, when you hear the lyrics, when you hear the chorus, I wrote it, I wrote the hook. So, again, that's the one with the girl that don't want to be a singer, but all of these things are available right now. I don't like advertising things, unless I know that everything is cleared up and good to go. And finally, they're online and available to purchase. So now I got to do all the other stuff as far as advertising, making actual commercials that could, making actual commercials, etc. But till then, that's what it is. You're getting it live. You're getting it right directly from me. So I'm saying, buy it, please, purchase it. Come on. I'm competing. With majors right now, and the records. And when you hear the music, when you hear the music, if you hear the music and you like the music, then hit me up like, yo, that shit was fire. If you listen to the music, oh, that shit was, you're not gonna say it was trash because you're smart. And and if you love music, you'll definitely enjoy this music. I'm not sure if there's anything that I missed. I'll check one more time I'll check one more time on the chat, and then we say it's a wrap. Okay. And I guess it's a wrap, and I'm gonna say peace to the chat. Peace to the chat too. Chat. And again, if you wanna check me out next time, I'm not one of those who's gonna keep doing this over and over and over and over and over again where it messes up your phone. We're gonna do this we're gonna figure out a schedule and try to start scheduling it, where we can all be in sync, and we kind of, could kind of like do this at the right time and have like kind of some order to it or whatever, because I don't really go live too much or whatever, but it's going to be worth pressing the bell under that subscribe, or next to that subscribe button, pressing that bell, like, share, subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. If you didn't like it, just please like it. If you don't like it, you can stay quiet. Nah, you can press down. I don't care. I mean, but definitely, comment, if there's something else that you wanted to comment on, if there's something that you wanted to build on, if there's something that I said that you get, or you wanted to, actually add to, then add to that conversation under the chat. So maybe next time when we talk, we could bring that up, or whatever the case is. Don't be shy. I'm probably the most introverted, shy person, but at the same time, you see, if I'm making myself available to do this, then, you know, and put myself out there or whatever. And again, I appreciate everybody, you know, for logging in. It's America versus the United States. And dear America, once you wake up, you'll realize that you are the star. And I appreciate it. Get enlightened, get involved, get right, and we out.